Moiti and Gitobu and many of the others, is this was the vision we had. This is what we were agitating for. This is why we recognized that the political party system seemed to have been broken, and we wanted a new party. I'm not sure Safina hasn't been broken too in the same context. And I really think an independent candidate, or a series of independent candidates, who vie for the top slot against the ones we know are going to run, would be a very, very healthy thing for this country.
Bottom line, and going back to the Jade Sea, Lake Turkana, can it be saved? Can it be saved? I mean, because what you say is scary.
I don't think there's any question that Lake Turkana could be saved if we were able to persuade Ethiopia not to do what they're proposing to do, and that's to put a dam and to then take off water below the dam for irrigation. Ethiopia is a friendly neighboring state. Its actions in regard to transnational waterways are a matter of international concern and an international treaty system that exists. For Prime Minister Meles to operate independently and with an attitude of to hell with the Kenyans on this issue, I need what I'm going to do for my people, is selfish, unsustainable, and I would venture to say unworkable. And I would hope that the government of Kenya would recognize that it's no good one ministry saying we want power, the other ministry saying we want water, the other ministry saying we want peace. Let us get a common message and put to our brothers and sisters in Ethiopia, through their effort, to persuade Meles, this isn't the way to go. This is not the Pan-Africa, the United Africa, the African Union that we're talking about. This is going to lead to war, border wars between the tribes. It's going to lead to instability. It's going to lead to opportunities for new rivalries amongst nations outside of Africa to compete for favors and things of this. This is where I think we're going wrong, and I think Kenya has a lot to blame. We haven't spoken with one voice. The Minister of Energy is saying one thing. The Minister of Northern and Arid Lands is saying another thing. The Minister of Water is saying another thing. The Minister of Environment is saying another thing. It's time we spoke with one voice.
It's almost like blocking off part of the Nile, isn't it? It's like a declaration of war.
Well, to me it would be a declaration of war. I think one would have to recognize that blocking the Nile is probably more serious in terms of there are no alternatives to the Egyptians and the Sudanese. I understand that Prime Minister Meles is also proposing to dam the Blue Nile, and I would imagine this could have consequences. And I think Kenya, in its foreign policy, should be on the right side over this. I think we should be pushing through the Nile Treaty negotiations. We should be pushing through the African Union. We should be pushing through the UN agencies for some common sense and some decency to prevail in terms of future generations of Africans in the middle of the continent.
Speaking of speaking with one voice, and you were talking about independent candidates, would Dr. Richard Leakey want to be one of them? Would you come back into politics and drive that agenda?
Well, I certainly wouldn't turn it down if there was a real opportunity to do something, but I think there are many better men and women who could do it. I mean, I think there's no shortage of talent if they are prepared to jump in and talk about issues. But yeah, if I was persuaded that I could help or could stimulate, why not?
You still have a lot of faith in this place, huh?
Huge faith, absolute faith. There's no question this Kenya of ours has a future that is brilliant.
And the only people who can mess up this future is ourselves, right?
Oh, we can't blame anyone else now. You can blame my ancestors and your ancestors for colluding or fighting. We can blame the Americans. We can blame whatever you want. But no, listen, we're too old now. We're grown up. And grown-ups have to account for their own actions. There's no point in being grown up and blaming people that you have no connection with and are not responsible for our mess today or our success today. Yeah. Our Constitution, our independent appointments of the Chief Justice, and a proposal to appoint a Supreme Court of independent judges, our plan to appoint independent ministers who are not part of the political process. This is a Kenyan initiative, a Kenyan success story. Don't let anybody take credit for it. And it's no good. The Americans telling us they pushed us, or the British telling us they took us. It's our business. We did it. We should be proud.
And speaking of our ancestors, if Canon Harry Leakey and Senior Chief Koinange got together tonight to chat about Kenya today, you think they'll be happy with where the country has come?
Yes, I think they'll be extremely happy. I think I hope that Canon Harry Leakey would be dismayed at how much hypocrisy there is in the churches. And I think Senior Chief Koinange would be rather dismayed by the selfishness of some of his people and other people in Kenya. But I think they would nonetheless take joy and solace in the vibrancy of the next generation.
Well put, Doctor, well put. As always, great to see you.
Asante.
And it's good to know you haven't given up hope.
Certainly not.
Dr. Richard Leakey, folks, breaking it down from conservation to politics. Yes, and he said if he were to be persuaded, he could throw his hat in the ring and throw it all in disarray, folks, because it's not about the usual suspects. There could be some others on the fringes to turn this place around. Whoa! What a guest. What a show. What a good man he is, folks. You cannot find Dr. Richard Leakey anywhere else but right here on the bench on the award-winning station, K24, where we are, even in times of turning Kenya around, we are still all Kenyan.
All the time. Thank you.
Well done, Doc.
Okay.
Great job.
Good.